Today we're all about good vibes only while I recover from a bad hair day. Since it's exactly 2 weeks before the end of the Breakthrough Junior Challenge, I wanted to share with you guys a bunch of video hacks since I've still been getting a lot of questions and I feel like my advice changes a little every year, hashtag personal growth. Plus, I recently attended a filmmaking workshop in Hanoi organized by ASEAN where I learned a bunch of cool stuff that might be of interest to you. If you're short on time, I made a video that's on Breakthrough's channel. I'll link it somewhere. That's basically a TLDR of this video. But if you're interested in how I make a video from start to finish, this is it. To start off, 2 weeks is a really long time. So if you're still thinking, should I still do this? Should I take the plunge? In my year, I found out about the challenge 10 days before the deadline. Classic. It was a mad rush. I felt like quitting at so many points, but oh boy. If you're wondering how I split those 10 days up, it was 5 days for research and scripting, 3 days for filming, and 2 days for editing. If you're planning to stick to the same time frame as me, great! You've got like 4 days to procrastinate. How do I begin? The more you make videos, the easier they come. Like nowadays, I can write an entire script in like a night. But it's definitely different when you're just starting out. So I actually dug up my OG Breakthrough Junior Challenge script and I was surprisingly organized. There were 4 parts to my process. The first thing I did was write down the criteria of the video. This is something I do for a lot of projects because it helps me internalize what to do. Next step, planning. I knew some stuff about superbugs before I started my video. So I kind of had an idea of my main and sub talking points and how long I wanted to spend on each point. Then I did research to make sure I really understood what I was talking about and also to find interesting things that I could add to my video. Don't worry if it's something that you haven't learned in class. I only learned about superbugs the year after I made my video and that was still okay because we have TEDx, Khan Academy, and even if you are researching something super obscure like algebraic and kinesthetic models for math rock groups. Math rock, by the way, is an awesome genre. Please check it out. Google has got your back. Just make sure that you go to legit sources. I like going to the science departments of university websites. After you're done, you can start thinking about how you want your video to look. I'm an actiony sort of person, so all my scripts always have scenes and movements right from the first draft. But it really depends on what you're most comfortable with. If you need inspiration, just take a day off, go on YouTube and watch whatever. It doesn't have to be related to science. I would say that my propensity for puns is inspired by like 10 over years of watching Ryan Higa. So you know, once you've got your science part down, feel free to be creative and do something that's uniquely you. So this is my final script. You might see that some of these things didn't even make it to the final cut because the script is always changing even when you're at your filming stage, editing stage. Write as much as you can so that you have more to work with and then you can focus on cutting it all down later. For cutting down, I too struggle, but if I had to rank it, I would trim down my jokes first, followed by anything that isn't immediately relevant to explaining the concept. Like over here, I talked about penicillin, but it didn't make the final cut because I wanted to spend more time actually talking about how antibiotics worked. So this is my final script, which might look a bit more familiar because this is what I used for my actual video. To recap, I wrote down the criteria, did my planning and research based on that, wrote the script, and then refined it. Yeah. For filming, I usually stick to 3 things, which is talking, writing on the whiteboard, and making things move. When it comes to talking, I have my laptop out in front of me all the time and my camera just right on top of my laptop. So what I do is I memorize a few lines on my script, say it to the camera, rinse and repeat for the rest of the video. Sometimes I say the same line over and over again to get the right mood, but you don't see all of that because I cut it out during editing. Audio-wise, you do not need a mic if your room is quiet enough. That's why I'm always filming inside because I don't use a mic. Sometimes I look a little sweaty because my fans are always off. But if you have to film in noisy places or from a distance, my trainer in Hanoi recommended Boya mics, so you can check that out. For whiteboard drawings, this is my setup. As you can see, there is no setup, but I'm planning to overlay a video of my setup in editing. So just a quick tip, think a few steps ahead when you're filming. Like, what are you gonna do in editing and what are you gonna say? But anyway, this is my setup. My phone goes on top, my whiteboard goes below. My whiteboard goes below. Basically, I press record and start drawing, and then I speed everything up later in editing. Lastly, stop motion. It is tiring because you have to take things shot by shot by shot. My hack is to use the scroll function in iPhone. So once you've got everything in your camera roll, you just have to click screen record and scroll, and it has this really nice stop motion effect. I'll show you how to crop it in this next section, which is... Your girl does all her editing on iMovie, which is on Apple products in general, I guess. But for basic editing, you can also use free software like HitFilm Express or apps like Viva Video, which I will link below. I'm going to use my scuba diving video as an example because I have since lost all footage of my breakthrough video. You can see that as a vlogger, you are going to have to deal with your face for a very long time. So PSA, please love yourself. You can see here that the clips are all really short, and that's because I snipped them from a bigger video which has all of my bloopers and stuff. The next thing I do is to get music to fit the— oh my god, it's raining! No! It's gonna affect my audio. Okay, take two. The next thing I do is get music to fit the vibe of my video and also make editing less painful. I like to go on SoundCloud and search up royalty-free lo-fi music, but if you're making a film instead of a vlog, Incompetech.com has really good background music that you can use. Then I do actual editing like overlaying videos and cropping for comedic effect. Nowadays, I like to add cards between segments as well, which I make on an app called Fonto. I also use Fonto for green screen stuff because I really like this pop-up effect. What I do is I import a bright green background into Fonto, write my text there, and then export it back into my laptop. For advanced green screen things like moving text around, I also use Fonto to create my text, and then I send this to PowerPoint on my laptop. PowerPoint has this function where you can draw the path that you want your moving text to take. So I do the doodle and then record it in full screen on QuickTime. For stop motion, I mentioned doing this on iPhone. All you have to do now is crop it and throw it into your video on iMovie. A quick note of filming, it doesn't have to be 100% perfect because you can always crop and trim it later in editing. I'm pretty sure it's more convenient to do all of this on something like Final Cut Pro, which I definitely hope to learn in future. But for now, I really like iMovie because it's fast and easy, and I'm all about that sweet path of least resistance. One huge takeaway I got from my filmmaking workshop in Hanoi is don't be cliche. While science is a very factual sort of thing, it can be told in a million ways, so relate it to a game you like, a dream you had, or even a vine you saw on YouTube that made you breathe out a little bit more than usual. You stand out by telling your own story because no one else can do it like you. I also learned a lot about making actual films at the workshop, like directing sequences and following action lines, but I really want to give them a shot first before showing you guys. So this is a really YouTuber thing to say, but please subscribe if you want to see my future film projects. What the heck? That's all for this week, unless I can finish my Hanoi vlog before next weekend. We'll see. I hope this was useful. Let me know in the comments or on Instagram if you have any questions, suggestions, or memes. I am open to all of the above, and see you next week!